Hello, and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Helsinki for the MSEM format. I'm Caillou, and today we're going to be watching the round 3 match between Crushcastles, who's playing 5-color Aerida Superfriends, and Cajun, who's playing blue-black Dragon Reanimator. So, as Cajun's deck name says, it's essentially a Reanimator deck which also has controlling elements to essentially turn off opposing interaction and make it so that Cajun can essentially stall out until he combos, because his main Reanimator tool is 5 mana, so this isn't really as much fast combo as it is resilient combo. Meanwhile, Crushcastles' deck is also kind of a combo deck in and of itself. How it works is it aims to use a lot of Superfriends support cards with Aerida. Aerida has a -5 where you can take an extra turn. She also has multiple ways to, she also has a -3 which creates an emblem which puts a loyalty counter on her. So the idea is using Aerida's own emblem plus various other Planeswalker support cards. The deck aims to make it so that you can -5 Aerida every turn, and in doing so, you basically just go infinite, kill your opponent with a bunch of Planeswalkers and Planeswalker alts, and just get a bunch of mid-range value while you're building up to that. The problem with Crush's deck, of course, is that it is interaction low, and its earliest play is on turn 3. It's probably, though, needs to hit another land, but if Crush does, can turn 3 Mabel Fardancer +1 create a far-off lands, and then another land top deck will land Crush into a Cornrows, which is a great curve out. On Cajun side of the table, can play out a Withering Husk, and looks like is going to do that, yep. Oh no, is going to play a Prying Inquiry. This is definitely a strong interaction spell in our format. Like, conditionless hand attack plus effective card advantage is huge. And is probably just going to take the Mabel here to put Crush off ramp, because neither Kati nor Merida are particularly impactful. I guess Merida is also ramp in her own weird way, so could take that. But I guess the better play would be to grab Merida now that I think about it, because Merida is both faster ramp because of her +1, and the -1 allows for good card selection. Okay, he's going to grab Mabel. Maybe is... Oh, I guess one thing could be is scared of Mabel -1, untap all lands, and then play another Walker, because that is a really strong line. With Merida, at least, Crush has to wait another turn before playing a Walker. And does hit the third land right there, Channeling Stone. So probably run out the Merida, and then Merida allows for Cornrows next turn. And for now, since Cajun doesn't have anything on board, can -1 Merida either on Cajun or Crush just for some card selection. So yep, here comes Merida. Oh, we're going to +1 her. I actually, I feel like +1ing Merida is probably not the best thing that could have been done there, because like Cajun doesn't have any threat to kill Merida, and -1ing is just more effective there. Yeah, Winged Descent is basically dead in Cajun's hand. Crushes all Planeswalkers, no creatures. So basically just has lands and Withering Husks. So Withering Husk is not bad. So it does come down and starts putting pressure on Crush. So yep, here comes a Withering Husk. Oh, isn't going to discard a card and pay 1 life. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like you're totally cool with discarding the Winged Descent at this point because it's dead. And because of Tomb, Winged Descent can count for future Tomb cards. So I think that was maybe a misplay from Cajun. And also, like, even if Cajun's thought is, oh, okay, I'll just draw an island, like, you're fine with getting lands off the top of your library. Like, I think just filtering through to relevant cards as fast as possible is totally fine. Okay, so Crush is going to +1 Merida, and then play Mirai Spring's Promise. Gonna +2 make each player draw a card. Oh, and the both players draw thing is not the real draw of Mirai. I feel like, God, that at the beginning of your upkeep you can choose another Planeswalker and activate its abilities twice is so disgusting, because that means next turn Crush can double +1 Merida, and then drop both Caddy and Cornrows. Um, or can just -4 and +1. The or even like let's say play Mirai or play +1 Merida, play Cornrows, use Mirai's. Oh no, actually, can't. Mirai's is a static on upkeep, so can't do that. But yeah, there's definitely like lots of little niche interactions that Mirai's static allows for. Okay, so Cajun draws a Violent Collapse, once again dead in this matchup since Crush does not have any creatures. Um, Dreadfire Tyrant on top, but doesn't really have any Reanimator spells. Like, Cajun is really out of luck here, and I feel like should start using the draws with the Withering Husk. Cajun saying, no good options, dog, but hey, if you have no good options, start taking the bad ones. Like, swing with the Withering Husk and start, and the play the other Withering Husk and start, like, cycling through your deck. Like, come on. Okay, he's going to swing with Withering Husk at Merida. That at least prevents her from -4ing next turn, unless Crush both +1 and then -4s Merida to kill her. Which honestly might do because he has a second Merida in hand. And then is going to discard Violent Collapse, draws a Dreadfire Tyrant. On top is another Tyrant Toppler. So, once more, a Reanimator payoff without the actual reanimation spell. And yep, Withering Husk number 2. This time discarding the Dreadfire Tyrant. Draws a Tyrant Toppler, but the next card on top is not much better, just another land. And without any more fetch lands, Cajun can't use the fetch lands as like Pseudo Scry to try and reset the top of his library. So on upkeep, Crush is gonna choose Myriada with Mirai's static. I'm surprised. I feel like Crush made a big mistake not cracking the Shifting Canyon last turn. Okay, gonna +1 Myriada, run out Cornrows. Gonna 0 Cornrows and kill a Withering Husk. So Cornrows takes 2 damage, but in exchange the Withering Husk will die. And then can still activate Mirai and Merida once more. Okay, gonna +2 Mirai. Each player draws a card. I somehow feel like it would have been just better to +2 Mirai and then put down the Shifting Cascade instead of playing land for turn. Because yeah, oh, see? Now Cajun's gonna draw into a Constant Conjuring next turn and then can bring back one of his reanimation targets. So now, yeah, now he's gonna -1 Myriada, and then exile the Constant Conjuring. But in response, Cajun can crack the clue from the old Prying Inquiry and draw into the Constant Conjuring itself. So yeah, this is... Crush should not have let Mirai make Cajun draw a card, honestly. Yeah, at this point I think you exile the Draconic Divulging and let Cajun have the land, probably. No, is also going to exile the land? That feels like a punt from Crush to me. And in this situation, you do not care if Cajun draws in more lands. But yeah, next turn, and Crush doesn't have anything else he can do. Next turn, Constant Conjuring comes down, reanimates this Dreadfire Tyrant, and gets to grab one of the Planeswalkers. Probably, I don't know, grab a Myriada. Okay, is going to conjure Withering Husk from Graveyard. Discards the Tyrant Toppler. Probably to reanimate the Tyrant Toppler instead. Because I was thinking that Tyrant Toppler could be hard cast in a few turns. If the Dreadfire Tyrant sticks around because of the Polyp pools. But I guess Cajun wants to just reanimate the Tyrant Toppler now because unlike Dreadfire Tyrant, this one has haste. So can just attack and then kill one of the Crush's Planeswalkers like right off the bat. Actually, ironically, cannot kill Mirai. And yep, here comes the Constant Conjuring. And yep, brings back the just discarded Tyrant Toppler. Fortunately for Crush, doesn't get the cast trigger, but I think a 7/7 Flying Haste will probably just be enough to close out this game. And interestingly, is going to swing the Tyrant Toppler at Mirai. Withering Husk as well? Okay, so he's going to just straight kill Mirai. Honestly surprised that Cajun didn't go for face. Because he has pretty good hand information. He knows what Crush is going to draw into next turn. He also knows that Crush's only out basically right now is Aerida and somehow combo off, but doesn't really have the board presence to combo off with Aerida. So I feel like just attacking both Tyrant Toppler and Withering Husk at face should be enough, and then like the because that kills Crush next turn. Oh well, I guess it doesn't kill Crush next turn if Crush zeros cornrows on the other Withering Husk. So Crush would survive with 1 life. But in that case, I would just attack cornrows. I could see the line being +2 cornrows on Myriada, draw 3 cards with Myriada's alt, and then try to see what you get from there. No, it's just gonna +1 Myriada. But like, I don't think that anything in Crush's hand is effective enough to get him out of the situation. To be honest, like I think the lack of interaction in his deck is also a huge problem. But I think at the very least have to dig for something for future turns is my feeling. Oh, so instead of actually +1ing Myriada, is gonna play Catty Evelyn, and then is gonna +1 Myriada still. Don't know if I agree with this. Okay, here comes Hirukari, and then is gonna +2 cornrows on Hirukari, and then -9 Hirukari, for the Legend Rule emblem, which like I guess is fine because Crush has Catty and another Myriada in hand, but also I feel like they're just gonna die like immediately. Okay, Cajun gonna run out the Council's Will. Usually Council's Will can be kind of not great because of how many different types of cards people run. Versus Crush's deck, it's pretty easy because you are just gonna name Planeswalker. So yeah, Cajun gets 0 hits, which is why Council's Will is not super great. Council's Will is notable for being able to grab lands, though. So there is that. But for now, Cajun is going to swing in Tyrant Toppler on face, Withering Husk to kill the Hirukari, and is going to use the Withering Husk trigger. This does mean that Cajun has enough mana to be able to hard cast Dreadfire Tyrant next turn. So yeah, now I think Crush has to, is gonna alt Myriada and then draw 3 cards. Unfortunately, they're all lands. I feel, okay. And then I feel like has to, can play the second Myriada, but then Crush can't alt it this turn because Crush's only way to give Myriada extra counters is Cornrows, and has to use Cornrows as 0 to kill the Withering Husk, otherwise he just dies next turn. Okay, Myriada number 2 is actually not going to do that. Oh wait, I just had a thought. Okay, yeah, it runs out Catty Evelyn number 1, and then can play Myriada number 2. Myriada number 2 will come in with 5 counters because of double Catty, and then Crush can alt, but then can't do anything else this turn. So I feel like Crush should have just played Myriada, -4'd her and let her die, and then like and then just like try to draw into more cards. Okay, Myriada number 2 coming down, and I suspect this one is also going to immediately alt, and is going to alt again, draws into a Hirukari, Catty Evelyn, but still no Aerida. Aerida would be perfect right now. So now the only thing that Crush has left is Cornrows kill Withering Husk. Yep. So has 1 more turn to survive. Next turn can probably Ayashi and then immediately alt Ayashi, because or like, can Crush do that? So assuming that Cajun just goes for face, then Ayashi comes in with 3 counters. Cornrows can put 3 more counters on her. Or I guess so Crush can play the 3rd Catty Evelyn, and then maybe we'll be fine. And Cajun is gonna conjure Withering Husk after swinging for 7 with Tyrant Toppler. And I forgot Withering Husk's conjure trigger. Oh yeah, that just wins. I forgot that the conjure trigger just works from grave as well. And yeah, that's exactly lethal for Crush. So yeah, Crush really didn't have a way out there, I guess. So let's see what Crush can bring in from the sideboard to make this matchup a little bit more bearable. So Cold Grave is going to be super useful here as a way to stymie Reanimator attempts and by threatening to exile Grave. I think Sand Scatter is similarly useful as interaction. Reconstruct and Once Abandoned are good against specifically this Constant Conjuring, but not much else, so I doubt they'll be coming in. And for some reason, I thought that Crush had a spell stutter in here, but does not. So yeah, I think so. So I think it's just going to be Coldgrave, Sand Scatter, and then the rest of the main probably stays the same. Meanwhile, for Cajun, Chaos and Bloom is extremely effective here, as it's a Planeswalker wipe. So I think all 4 of those coming in. Not sure why the Shimmering Dragon is here. It's like it's a good Reanimator target. I'm not sure, like, as a sideboard card what it's doing. So I can't really evaluate where it's going to come in. I have to ask Cajun, like, where the Shimmering Dragons are trying to play into. Temporary Treason is similarly useful versus Walkers, so I think that is going to be coming in. And yeah, that's about it. So I think probably just Sides Out, Winged Descents, and Violent Collapses for Chaos and Blooms and Temporary Treasons. So Crush and Cajun both keeping at 6. I think Crush's hand seems pretty weak. Kati is the weakest of your walkers on her own because she doesn't really do anything with her +1 or -2 because you don't run any creatures. She's really just there for the extra proliferation, essentially as an enchantment. Cower is good, but both Cower and Cornrows are expensive, and Crush needs to start getting, like, Crush's deck is slow as it is, but without effective turn 3 plays, I doubt it can really keep up with Cajun's deck, even though Cajun's deck is also a more middle tempo deck. Looking at Cajun's hand, it's interesting to see that, yeah, Cajun did bring the Temporary Treason, but also brought in Ephemeral Adept. So he's probably going to try and tear apart Crush's hand, turn 2 Prying Inquiry, turn 3 Ephemeral Adept, and then just off to the races, because Ephemeral Adept also gives Cajun creatures to be able to kill walkers. And Crush still not hitting a good walker, another Kati. So Cajun's going to run out the Prying Inquiry. So what do you take here if you're Cajun? I feel like Cower is probably the thing to take because Kati doesn't do much on her own. And Cower is like the only really relevant removal walker. Maybe Cornrows, because Cornrows can kill like... But I think you just take Cower and then you can grab Cornrows with the Ephemeral Adept. Oh no! Cajun is just going to take a Kati. I feel like Kati is basically useless. I feel like you never take Kati just because Kati is a support walker. So I don't really quite agree with that decision. Like, I think like Cajun is least scared of a Kati Evelyn out of this hand of walkers. So Crush is just going to run out a Kati and then +1 her. Meanwhile, Cajun is just going to play a land and pass. On draw step, can Ephemeral Adept Crush, effectively doing a Vendilion click. Okay, Crush is going to run out of Mirai. I'm surprised Cajun didn't Ephemeral Adept on draw. On end, Cajun is going to Ephemeral Adept himself and draw a card. Okay. I can't say that I like this play. I guess Cajun's like, oh man, I need to draw some gas. But also didn't draw a card off of Adept. Okay, is resolving that now. I don't know. I guess Crush's thought is that isn't particularly worried by either Cornrows or Cower and doesn't want Crush to draw into something more threatening. But I don't know. Cower is pretty scary, I feel like. Just, since Cower costs 3 less right now, Crush will be able to cast it if he hits a land next turn. I guess Cajun's thought is at that point just Tempt Treason it and go for broke. No, he's gonna run out Tempt Treason now on the Mirai? I guess, dog, but I don't know. Oh, I guess can -2 Mirai on the Substantiate token, and then does it come into play as a Tyrant Toppler? Is that how the ruling works? Because if so, that would actually be a really sick play. So swings for 3 at Kati. And yeah, is just gonna -2 Mirai on the Substantiated Tyrant Toppler. That is one hell of a line. Substantiate your own big boy and then flicker it with your opponent's card. So Crush can now run out Cower, actually. Yeah. He's going to run out Cower, comes in as a 7 loyalty, and then can immediately +2. No, he's going to -4 on the Temp Treason, of all things. Well, okay, I guess that gets Mirai back and also gets Crush a permanent. But I feel like you'd want to keep Cower alive, right? Okay, and then reveals Myriada, Mabel, and Cornrows. So I'd imagine, Myriada, and then try to just exile cards from the top of your library until you hit relevant stuff. Myriada could also just come in and immediately ult. No, grabs Cornrows. Why? Am I missing something? I feel like Cornrows is not super great here because his 0 is emphatically not going to kill Tyrant Toppler. And you already have a Cornrows in hand. The Myriada at least could come in and immediately ult and draw Crush into 3 more cards. Okay, he's going to 0 Cornrows on the Ephemeral Adept, killing it. And then is going to use Mirai to make each player draw a card. So I think if I was Crush here, or not Crush, Cajun, just play a Wheat from Chaff and a Withering Husk, or play just Wheat from Chaff and then Prying Inquiry. That is honestly not a bad line, because Prying Inquiry just gets something out of their hand and you get another clue, and then Tyrant Toppler is going to kill one of their walkers anyways, so... Okay, so Cajun is just going to Wheat from Chaff, draws into a Constant Conjuring plus a Temporal Resuscitation. Okay, in that case, you just immediately dump both Tyrant Topplers, Temporal Resuscitation, one of them, Constant Conjuring the other next turn, and then, I'm pretty sure Crush just loses this game hard. And yep, Temporal Resuscitation. At this point, I feel like I just point both Tyrant Topplers at face, and then just threaten to kill Crush next turn. Or could swing one at face, one at a walker, and then Constant Conjuring is going to bring back the third Tyrant Toppler next turn anyways. So you get to kill a walker for security, and then just guaranteed kill next turn. But then for now is actually going to just point both of them at face. Crush takes a whopping 14 damage off of both of these Tyrant Topplers. And once again, Crush is in a do or die situation, has to combo off this turn or he loses. And draws another Cornrows. Dog, I bet Crush is feeling like, why did I not get that Myriada? Why did I get Cornrows? Anyways, so on upkeep, Mirai is gonna choose Cower, so it can Cower twice this turn. I guess is just gonna +2 Cower twice and then try to just hit more walkers. That makes sense. So gets a Shifting Crag off of the first Cower activation, which again, land does count, but not what Crush needed right here. Attempt number 2 hits a Myriada. Comes in with 4 counters, so I think you just immediately alter. Setup is just going to ult Myriada. Ancestral Recall coming through. So draws into another Myriada and a Mabel. So I think you just play Myriada right here. -4 once more, draw 4 more cards, and then can play Mabel, untap and use her as a ritual for +3. So it can crack both the Shifting Lands for green mana producers. So actually does not have enough mana now to Myriada into Mabel, so I guess it's going to Mabel first and then Myriada. How much mana is Crush going to have actually? Because if Crush can actually get to 10 mana, so makes 5 mana off of this, then makes another 7 mana. One crazy line that Crush could do is triple Cornrows 0 on a Tyrant Toppler to kill it. Of course, he still loses next turn because then Cajun just Constant Conjurings a Tyrant back. But if I was Cajun, that might be the line that I tried to play out. So taps everything, Mabel coming down, gonna -1 her. Myriada coming down once more, -3 again, or is Crush still going for the triple or I'm assuming that Crush has seen the triple Cornrows play, and if so, could +1 Myriada, and then use Myriada Miriada's +2 plus the 3 mana plus the 5 mana here to do the triple cornrows play. Oh, and it looks like Crush did bring in the reconstructs for the constant conjurings. So I feel like right here I would maybe +2 Mirai and then draw a card and then see what gets revealed. And then after that decide whether or not to triple cornrows or -4 Miriada, essentially. But no, okay, it's just going to go straight to alting Miriada. And that's 2 more lands in a reconstruct. And now doesn't have the mana to be able to triple cornrows. So I think even to Crush, now this game is lost. But man, Crush really went through more than half of his library and hasn't hit a single Aerida. This is some really bad luck for Crush, I'm not going to lie. Can still +1 I think at this point Crush has to just go for it. +1 Mirai and try to draw into an Aerida. Because Crush will get 2 draws here. Yeah, one off this Mirai. Okay, hits an Ayashi. Ayashi is not good here. Because can Ayashi be ulted? Comes in with 2 comes in with 2 counters. Cornrows can make that 5. Can play another Cornrows and then make it ultable, but then at that point it doesn't matter because Crush won't have the mana to do anything. So I think should just play Mirai number 2. Yup, is just going to play Mirai number 2. And draw again. Drawing again, and there's the Aerida! Finally! No, but Crush Cajun draws the Chaos and Bloom. So now, can Crush go off this turn? So Aerida enters as with 5 counters. Cornrows can +2 on her, make her into yeah, actually, like, Crush can just start going off here. Oh no, Crush can't! Because he doesn't have blue mana! No! No, don't tell me that's how this ends. Don't tell me that's how this ends. No way. Why didn't you just make an island forest with one of them, dog? No! No! Crush had got there! Crush could have gone off with Aerida. No, this is actually the most heartbreaking thing I've ever seen. Crush goes through like half of his deck, hits the one card he needs, has the board presence to start chaining turns, but loses because he doesn't have the right color of mana. Why did Crush tap the Chikami castles for Mirai? No! That was actually, oh my god. That would have been the sickest comeback of all time, but Crush threw it away. Oh. So Cajun on blue-black Dragon Reanimator takes a 2-0 over Crush on 5-color Aerida Superfriends. And I am in despair. Until next time, this is Caillou signing off.